still. Well,
Like a puppet.
Yeah, right,
Puppet
that's
like.
right.
That could be fun, actually. We should do that with the puppets.
I got a question about the music in the movie. The guitar has a very important place.
Yeah.
And what can you tell us about the music and the choice of the song of the Beatles in the
Yeah.
credit?
The music played a huge role in this film, obviously, for obvious reasons. Kubo is a musician. He's a storyteller, but he tells story through his music. And he actually, that's like any artist, his emotions, his feelings, his experiences come out through his art. And so when he's essentially like an Orpheus figure. He's like a mythic figure who's gifted with divine music, whose music is so beautiful he can actually coax the rocks and the trees to dance. And so when we first started talking to our composer, Dario Marianelli, who we previously worked with on the Box Trolls, I started telling him about the story and about this character and how he's essentially this gifted with godlike music. And so I said, okay, Dario, what I need you to do is I need you to write godlike music, all right?
Okay.
No pressure. And so Dario is such an extraordinary gifted musician. He absolutely dove into what the themes of the film were. He understood what they were. He dove into classic Japanese scales and wove that into a more romantic Western score. And so those things were kind of commingling, living together in this beautiful cross-cultural exchange. And I think music is so important for this movie, and he did a tremendous job in using the music to evoke emotion. And it's just a beautiful score. It plays more important role in this film than anything we've done, and he just did an exquisite job. For the end theme, I was looking for, and I wanted to find a song that really perfectly encapsulated some of the themes of the film, and so I started thinking about the Beatles. When I was growing up. I grew up in a Beatles household, effectively. My mother was a teenager when the Beatles came to America for the first time, so she loved them, and as a consequence, so did I. And in a film that's fundamentally about mothers and their children, I thought there was something beautifully poetic about sharing at the end of this film, something that my mother had shared with me when I was a kid. Which this song, "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," it really is a beautiful and timeless expression of love and empathy, which is really kind of at its core what this film is about. And so, we'd hoped that, we could have that song, but, it's the Beatles, God knows, they're not gonna let us use this song. And so we actually reached out to Olivia Harrison, and she let us use the song in the film, which I was shocked by. But, when we shared the ultimate song with her, she absolutely loved it, which I felt like my heart was going to explode. It was such a beautiful moment. But we didn't want it to feel like it was just something that was like a pop song that was slapped on at the end of it. We wanted it to feel like it was woven of the same fabric and thread that the rest of the film was. And so we continue to work with Dario Marianelli about, okay, how can we reimagine this beautiful, incredible rock song as something that came from this same period, and it feels like it comes from the same instrumentation and philosophy as the rest of the score. And so we had a really unusual approach. Everything that we use in the film, we use the end song where nothing was plugged into the wall. These were all live instruments, and a lot of them, instrumentation from Japan, along with romantic instruments like violas and violins and cellos and basses and French horns. And there was just so many beautiful instruments that were all we recorded live in the room, and with this incredible arrangement that honored the original George Harrison, George Martin Beatles arrangement, but also wove elements of themes from the film into the song. And so it really is all those things combined. And I feel like it really is the perfect end to the movie. It's a song that that my mother gifted to me, and it was effectively wrapped up all the themes of the film in this one song. And I think it's just the perfect way to end the movie. Yeah.
So for the voices, you have a varied cast, and I would like to know if at any moment on the project you thought to work with a Japanese actor for the international release, for the voices.
Yeah, so we have the cast that we have in the English language release in America and in the UK and Australia, and then the film gets tailored for every market. So we get different actors in each market to bring the character to life in the best way. And what we do is we work with our partners at Universal and casting directors in each territory. And what we essentially do is we talk about trying to capture a certain kind of quality, a certain kind of voice. We want an actor who can bring the character to life in this way, whose voice sounds like this. Because when you have only the audio. You don't get the visual of the actor. You need to be able to, need to be able to bring the character to life emotionally in the best way possible. And it becomes almost like an orchestra where each voice has to occupy its own area of the sonic spectrum, and you want each instrument to either work harmoniously with each other, or if they need to clash because they're in contrast with each other, they'll clash. And so that becomes the trick, is finding actors who have the right sound of voice, who can have the right emotion that they can bring to it, and work within the context of the overall film. And so we go to great pains when we cast films for the English language version to make sure all those things are balanced. And then when we work with our casting directors internationally, we want to make sure that's happening in every territory. And of course, I am not an expert in the best voice actors in Finland or in Spain or in Italy or Portugal or where it happens to be. And so what we try to do is work with casting directors who understand what we're going for, and then hopefully they will do it. But we're just right now talking with distributors in Japan, and I have a wish list of Japanese actors I would love to cast if that ends up working out. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
I'm
sorry, it's finished.
Oh, that's it? We're just getting warmed up.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your future plans.
More stuff. We're actually shooting our next film right now.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Maybe
Is it
more,
about children? Because I
It's
noticed.
not.
Oh wow!
maybe more Oscars?
Well, from your lips, well, hopefully, fingers crossed. People love the film, which I appreciate. People have responded really beautifully to the
Yeah.
film, so I really do appreciate that.
I'm sure you're going to enter the Guinness Book soon with all the animation techniques and so.
Thanks. Well,
But
we
anyway,
love what
thank
we
you.
do. We're very passionate about what we do.
And we can tell actually, as viewers. we can tell.
Yeah, I do think that comes through. I mean, people absolutely love creating these things, and I do think it comes through. I think you can see that love and that wonder on the screen.
Merci.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take a picture with the...
Oh, of course. Yes. Together or no?